Rick, you just went to Portugal, right?
Yes.
And you celebrated a pretty big birthday.
I did. 70.
Congratulations.
No, thank you.
So when did you retire from being a dentist?
In the pandemic, so in 2020. So
And
that was like
how long were you a dentist?
45 years, so quite a while.
And whenever we were in P-Town, you said something to me about how at the time your partner in dentistry, who was also your partner, right, and romantically, life partner, you treated patients who had AIDS, and you said that other dentists wouldn't.
Oh yeah, well many other dentists wouldn't. We were the first dentists to sign on to the Ryan White Healthcare Act. There was a notice that that there was this. Well, we knew there was a need, but a need for people who had HIV, and AIDS. They were fired from the job. They thought they were dying. They didn't think they had a long life at all. This is before the vaccines or the treatment.
Right.
So we just we opened up our office to treat people who had dental emergencies or any kind of dental needs, and basically the Ryan White Care Act came from the government, and it was really a blessing because people who had lost their job, they didn't have any money and they couldn't afford dental care, so we did it at a very reduced rate, but it was mainly for the service of taking care of people. There were many really brilliant, beautiful souls who came, and we met a lot of people that were infected, and they had Kaposi sarcoma and all kinds of, you could tell that they were very, either just beginning to be ill or very ill. The progression of the disease was more advanced, and they were just really wonderful, wonderful guys. The gay community lost an awful lot of wonderful souls at that time, and it was very heartbreaking. We went to a lot of funerals. But it really did affect our practice because word of mouth, we weren't really, in the early 80s, we weren't out, It was before the coming out.
Was this in Boston?
It was in Boston, yeah. But we lost a lot of patients. I mean, a significant number of people, when the word spread that we were either seeing HIV patients or we were maybe gay, or there might have been a word about that, because I don't know how the word went out, but somehow word of mouth happens, and so we lost a lot of patients. That was a big hit for the growth of our business and our practice. So it's incumbent on us to as individuals, to do the right thing and to do what you feel is right, to treat people, to treat other human beings with dignity and respect, and not to like in Judaism they talk about taking care of the less fortunate people. Saving one life is like you're saving the entire world. So you try to the life is so important, and you try to make the world as good a place as you can. So there's only one life. It's not a dress rehearsal, as I say. So well, I just enjoy starting my day spiritually and having a service, and of course the camaraderie of having the people at the synagogue. It's just really nice. I go there early and I'll have a little coffee with them, and we have a few jokes and stuff. So it's a social thing too. It also has a very meditative feeling, like it's just with the prayers and things like that. My mom said to me when I was a little boy, because this is way back, because I didn't grow up Jewish. I was a Catholic, and we would go to Catholic masses, and they were all in Latin. Mm-hmm. And she said that and I'll never forget her saying that, I really enjoy, even though I don't understand Latin, but just the musical nature of of the prayers, and just that meditation, and it just reminds me of the meditative quality that she must have felt when in a Latin mass, as opposed to the Hebrew services. So
when you became Jewish, how was the community's approach towards gay people at that time?
Well, that was, again, in the early 80s. It was really around the time that we knew about, this strange virus that was affecting gay people. So I wasn't out then. Coming out day was really, really important, because I think when people knew that their coworkers were gay, it made them more sympathetic, and that really is, I think that was one of the main reasons why American society became less hostile towards gay people, was because they just found out that it could be anybody, it could be someone in your family even that you don't know. So, which took a lot of courage, and people didn't, some people were forced to be out if they, were dying of HIV or something, like Rock Hudson or something.
Right.
But by and large, I mean, it took a lot of courage, and it's made a big difference in how gay people are perceived in American society.
Yeah. Is there anything specific that you would like to tell to younger generations in the gay community?
Well, one thing, when you have acceptance of a minority, it's wonderful, right? Of course, everybody would understand that's wonderful, but you also lose a sense of community in a lot of ways too, because I remember in the early 80s and even the 90s, if you went to a very highly gay area, it was like a ghetto, and so you had in Christopher Street in Greenwich Village, and it was such a wonderful, supportive world, where there was so many gay people in gay shops and gay, and the gay people, we all stayed together because there was strength in numbers, and it was a safe place, and I do miss that. It's probably not a great thing to say, but I do miss that, the ghettoization, because it was just such a wonderful, supportive, nurturing environment that you can't replicate it now, because you just can't, and especially now with people meeting online and things like that, you just don't have a sense of community, like a community space, that you did then, and it's really sad actually that young people can't begin to experience. It's too bad I didn't have a camera or a film to film that and kind of have like hours and hours of like hanging around in some of in that ghetto.
Yeah, I mean, you probably didn't know that it wouldn't be like that forever.
No, you figure it's going to be the way always, right? So but it just happened. Now you go to Christopher Street in New York, and it's empty. It's a kind of a vast it's a wasteland, and a lot of empty shops. It's really, really breaks my heart actually, because of course, part of it is I was young then, and and it was a fun time because the world is all open to you, and it was exciting and all that stuff, but it's very sad to go back now and look at how despite all the gains that gays have, there's a lot of loss too, just in a weird way. It's just kind of a fun little thing that I don't hear too many people talk about.
That's interesting. I've heard people, maybe you've heard this before, but I've heard people mention like that like because of AIDS, people developed more sympathy and empathy with the gay community, and that because of how bad the virus was, like Princess Diana meeting the patients, and because of how bad the virus was, that it advanced the gay rights movement, because people saw empathy in a way that they hadn't before. I'm not sure if that's true or not.
No, probably a lot of open-minded, people would feel that way. There was a lot of backlash. People like you thinking that it's God's way of showing how bad gay people are. There was a lot of that too. So that's a great way to look at it. How can people not be sympathetic to people going through pain?
Yeah,
it's true. I mean, you would hope that people are that way.
So thank you for sharing all of that.
Oh, well, you're very welcome.
Yeah, I don't mean to make you, think about heavy subjects, but I think it's important to, because it can, that people can continue to learn, and be aware. Every generation that passes, people know less and less about
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
not to compare it at all, but people who live through traumatic times, I'm sure people who live through Baby Doc and Haiti and you know, terrible times that they talk about, they get emotional, and it's hard to kind of revisit that sometimes, but or certainly not even to compare it, but you know, people who lived through the Shoah, the Holocaust. I mean, it's just it's you know, it's not nearly like that, but but trauma is trauma, so it's a period of it's a difficult period. So I'm happy to share. It just brings back a lot of emotion. Thank you. Well, thank you for taking the time.
Yeah. Would you mind maybe showing me your studio really quick and
sure.
Then let you guys get to dinner.
Sure. No, sure. So this is a lot going on. So this is where I paint things that I've started with. Have to work on some more.
You paint on the floor like this?
No, that's for that's for the dogs. They love sitting here because I'm here for hours. So if Kemper is working or doing something, you know, they'll just be in here with me on this sofa, on the thing. So I have three. So well, there's 2 easels down there. They come up here too. So sometimes I have multiple things going on. So, and this is a little light box that I.
You can put like fruits there.
Right, you can put something there with some special light. Yeah, like to have like some designated light. So,
and when did you start painting?
I've always painted since you know, elementary school, but more dedicated in the last, you know, since the pandemic really.
Oh yeah.
I used to go through periods where I'd paint for a little bit, you know, if I had some time, you know, but it's a lot of time to set up and spend hours, and so it's hard. It was hard to do when I was working. So now that I'm not working, I do much more.